Alright, buckle in, kids, because this was a fucking crazy game. Again, another London part 3. Round 5, London number 3. And, I was lost on move 12, but I did not lose. So, backstory. I need a lot of backstory for this game. So this was against Rhett Langseth. Rhett Langseth is a Twitch mod here. He lives like down the road from me, but I still played him in the last round at a tournament we drove to another state for. Okay? Let's take a second here and look at our record against each other, because I think that'll be pretty interesting. We played 2 matches. I won the first match. I lost all my games in the second match. He's been like 2177 was his peak. He was close to master, but right now he's kind of at an all-time low. He's like under 2100, which is rare for him. So, hold on. All right, let's get this USCF up in here. We have, how do I count this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wasn't there an easier way to see this? I guess there wasn't. Or, oh, top 30 opponents, maybe? Maybe that'll do it. Search. Where is Rhett Langseth? I thought it would be higher than that. Oh, it is, yeah. Okay, Rhett Langseth, my 5th most played opponent, right under Brian Douglas Wall. 27 games. I have 5 wins, 2 draws, and 20 losses. But in the last 12 months, he's number 1 most played, 6 game, 1 draw, 5 losses. So I don't do well against him. But the thing with him is that it's not special about me. He gets very bad positions a lot of the time, and he's resourceful. It's like playing a weak computer, because he doesn't understand the positional chess that well, but he calculates very well, and he finds every tactical shot there is. So you can be winning, but if the position is complicated, you can easily mess it up. So this was a London, and I showed him my London from round 3. Or is it 2? 3. I showed him my London from round 3 and how I was getting killed. And so he decided to also put his knight on e5 because he knew I didn't know how to deal with it. And so you can see the PTSD in this game. You can see it. So because I am not playing the way I normally play. That game was so traumatizing to me. I just didn't want G4 to happen. And I spent like 30 minutes in the opening up until the point where I blundered on move 12 and was already losing. So, okay, foreshadowing. So again, I'm just doing my thing. You know, I'm doing the only thing I know how to do. Except this time I have C5 in. It's not a Jobava London. It's a regular London. And I'm like, yay, I'm doing it. But G4 is like scary, you know? So you'll notice here that I haven't castled yet. And I actually don't castle at all in this game. Because last time I castled, my opponent played G4, and I cried. So never again am I ever going to castle, is what I learned. So I feel like we should play Guess the Sarah move, because it's just a move I would like never normally play if I hadn't just been like emotionally traumatized the day before. H5 is very close. Very close. I played H6, which is like really passive. But the idea attached to H6 was G5, and I was like, you are not pushing your G pawn at me. I will do it first, and that's just the end of the story. Okay? So that was not a good decision on my part, though, because Bishop D3. Okay, I played B6. I didn't want to play B6 earlier because I was worried about Bishop B5 and I didn't know what was happening on my light squares, but since he already played Bishop D3, I was like, okay, I'll play B6 now. Maybe I'll castle queenside. I was waiting for him to castle, but then he plays Queen E2, and I was mad, because it's like, he's prepared to attack me either way, and I just don't want, I've gotten attacked, too much in this tournament, and I just can't take it anymore. So I lashed out. I played g5, which is not the best move ever to be played. And my idea attached was based on a simple miscalculation. Now, for context here, it's move 11. I have spent 20 minutes, and he has spent -1 minutes. So it's not like I was playing instantly. I was spending way too much time. So here was the calculation. Knight h5, knight takes f7, knight g3, and I'm attacking your queen, so you don't have time to save your knight because you have to recapture, and then I take, and you're down a piece. And I calculated that 5 times, and I realized, I was like, okay, it's working. All right. And then he played knight takes f7, and I was like, oh, this is check. I'm lost. What? So, back to being a mental case at the chessboard. And now it was very rough on my my mental health here. So I did not lose this game. I did not lose. I thought about resigning here. He says that I always say that to him, but I feel like I haven't been doing that as much lately, like resigning. Or I haven't resigned a chess game in over a year, I think, unless it was like, you know, really obvious. So that's the crazy thing though. I calculated knight takes f7 5 times, and he did it like half a time, because he said that when he looked at this, he didn't even like realize that I could maybe play knight g6, and it just worked out that I couldn't. But that's how he wasn't spending any time. He played all of these moves fucking instantly, okay? And that adds even more pressure. It's like, why do I suck so bad that I have this position after thinking 20 minutes when my opponent has spent -1 minutes? He has 91 minutes. He started with 90. So I went for this because I felt like it was the most safe, my king. So no castling for me. So I played king e7. And d takes e5, bishop takes c5. I was like, okay, this could be worse. Like, I have a big center, and I can just trade, and I'm not even down a pawn. But then he instantly played f4, which I had only begun to think about, because all my moves were kind of forced up to this point, it's the best move, but he just played it instantly. And now I have a slight problem with the f file here and my little friend the king. So, if he's so much better than me, then why didn't he win this game? That's my question. Okay. How cause a ruckus. Black to play and confuse things. Because that's your only chance. Black is dead lost, but did he whisper woman moment under his breath? If he did, I wouldn't have heard it. I was in shock. I can't explain the feeling I had after he played knight takes f7, by the way. Because I had made the decision that I was playing for results this tournament rather than learning. And I think that's why I was playing so badly, honestly. But I was like, okay, like, we're 10 minutes, okay, I guess 20 minutes in and the game's over, and I just don't get to play anymore. And I'm, like, in a different state, and I don't get to play chess. Okay, so c4 is what I played, so the only chance I have, I was like, he's probably just gonna play bishop c2, but, like, if I could get this pawn structure where he takes here and I take here, my d-pawn is super annoying, and his pawns suck and they're in the way. And he instantly took on e5, and I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious? And I was, like, getting happy here, because look how fucking good this pawn is. Pay attention to this pawn. Pay attention. This is the best pawn of all time. Okay? So, I'm getting excited, and then he castles, and I'm like, oh, this is really hard to deal with. Maybe I am losing. So I'm like going back and forth every move with like just being hit in the face with the fact that I'm losing, but I try and persevere. So I have to defend like God for the rest of the game, actually. I defend like God. So I pulled a ret on ret. So this is what ret usually does. He goes pawn grabbing, gets a bad position, and then defends forever and finds best moves and then wins, okay? But I did it to him. It's crazy. So king d8 is the only try. We want to get as far away from all of this as possible. Rook f7 was the threat. So if he just like trades queens, I think black is like I kind of like black, actually, because of the d-pawn. So he plays rook f7, but now queen c5, and okay, he has a problem with his e-pawn here, and if he's not careful, this pawn could advance at the wrong time and kill him. So my opponent plays queen f3, defending the pawn, because my opponent loves pawns. And again, I'm like, oh shit, queen f6 is like unstoppable. I can't stop that. I should resign. And I was like, but is it that bad after rook g8? Because like queen f6, king e8, and then like where's your next follow-up? Because the queen is so well placed on c5 that I'm covering f8, you know, and everything's fine. But the thing is, b4 is always the thing to consider here, because b4 kicks my queen off of that square, okay? But b4 gives up a pawn. So I had full confidence that my opponent was not going to play it, because he would just never do that, because he loves pawns. So b4 or queen f6 are both mate in 11, but they give up a pawn, okay? So we would never do this, ever. Why would you give up a pawn? Why would you do that? Well, he didn't see mate in 11. I didn't see mate in 11. I was like, b4 seems like the strongest move to me, but I didn't know why. Like, I didn't calculate any of this shit. So, queen f6, king e8 is forced, b4, move order doesn't really matter. And if I move anywhere, like, off of this diagonal, there's queen e7. So my queen is just hanging. So I have to play rook f8, and, like, he can just take my queen for free. Or he could play rook f1. I think it's a goddamn miracle that he didn't play b4, like... It really is only like 2 moves of calculation now that I think about it. But he was playing instantly, you know? It was pure luck. I got so lucky in this tournament so many times. It was insane. So anyway, it leads to mate eventually, where I just lose my queen. But my opponent was lazy and played rook f1. And now I'm like, it's only like -3. I'm like, it's not that bad. I played bishop d7, only move. And now I have someone to hide behind, and it's this. Look how bad his bishop is. So, okay, more backstory. So, if anyone remembers all of the Stonewall games that I have, that player who likes the Stonewall is his dad. So I think it's hilarious that he gets stuck with what we call a Dwayne bishop. Because he's like, oh, he has his father's bishop. He can't avoid it, you know? So the reason that I held is this pawn is really good and this bishop's really bad. Okay, anyway. Bishop f2. Trying to do something, trying to win this pawn. And then I played queen c6 and I offered a draw. And I think that was a really good draw offer. Because, okay, queen c6 has many points. So number 1 is after queen f6, king c7. I need to be defending the e6 pawn, or he can just take it because my bishop is pinned. Number 2, it prevents any e4 breaks, and I think it was only 2. But my opponent decided to go take a pawn. Go, my opponent, win the pawns. So now I'm doing totally fine. Like, I'm doing great. So instead of giving up a pawn and then mating me on e7, we went and we took a pawn. So I have to play rook e8, because I still need to defend this shit if I want my queen to be able to move. But now queen h7 has quite an annoying idea attached to it. Or I thought he played bishop e1 at some point. Did he not? Maybe I imagined that. Did I enter it in wrong? Thanks for Twitch Prime. Oh, XD. I was gonna try and pronounce that. Okay. Queen c6. Blah, blah, blah. I guess not. Well, anyway, I have to be careful because there's like this thing happening sometimes. Not right now because of the bishop. But, he's attacking my pawn, was the main point of queen h7, so I have to play queen b5. And he could go like a4 and like kick me off of this again. I don't know why he didn't do that. That's what I would have done. But again, it's giving up a pawn. So my opponent would not. So bishop g3, now the threat is rook d7. And either way I take back, I'm losing. But thankfully, now I have rook h8, and there aren't really any good squares for him to go to, except for this and this. And he plays queen g6, and I feel like he has to play queen h5 at this point. Because if he does what... Okay, it's either a draw, or in the game, he played a4, which was a complete shocker to me. Why he would play it here and not in the other position. So I kind of instantly take this without thinking. And I felt like I was doing fine at this point. What's the time situation though? I was so distraught in this game, at some point I actually stopped writing down the times. But I have something like 40 minutes and he has something like 90 still. But I played king d8, getting out of the pin so I can take this guy. And he plays rook a1. This was his idea, to get the pawn out of the way so he can just come in with this rook and mate me. And I had seen this coming, but I didn't think there was anything I could do about it. So rook e7 is good, because then we can just defend on f8 with the bishop, and then also defend the rook. Or I mean the rook pawn. Bishop e8. Oh. Both moves are good. I thought I played bishop e8. I guess I didn't for some reason. I guess I didn't like walking in the pin. I don't know. Okay, now we need to get rid of this guy, because this guy's really good. But now I take his pawn. He takes my pawn. I play rook e7. And we repeat moves a few times. So this is why my opponent is also like a computer. Computers really like repeating moves at least once, because it's technically better to do, because your opponent might make a mistake the second time. So he always does that. I think it's funny. So after rook f8, I actually blundered here to just a very simple tactic that I saw after I moved, and I got really lucky that my opponent was moving so quickly that he didn't see it. So would you play bishop e8 or rook e8? One is a blunder, one is fine. Those are your only two legal moves. The chat, rook e8, rook f to f7 is the question, yeah. I mean, I thought I didn't have a choice. I thought I had to play bishop e8 because of rook f7. So I played bishop e8, which is a mistake, because of rook a8 followed by this, and then like I can't really get my rook out any other way, and this just fails to this is what I hung, but it's like +6 at this point. So rook e8, rook f7, I can actually just play rook e7, which is like, are you serious? I can play rook e7 here? That's so cool. Again, this pawn is so fucking good. Look how fucking good that pawn is. If any way he takes, it doesn't matter. He has to move the other rook back, and then I take his rook, and it's equal here. Or, okay, I take his bishop, or his rook there, you know. So probably takes this way. But isn't that awesome? I didn't see that idea at all. I thought bishop e8 was forced. So I played it. But yeah, after rook a8 and bishop e1, I am losing. So here he could just immediately do this, which is something I missed until after I moved, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm just lost. And I thought he was going to play it, but he's still playing instantly. And he plays just like the most confusing move I've ever seen. What is b3? Like, what the fuck is the point of b3? What is b3? There's gotta be a point. The point of b3 is to be free. Gotta guard a4. Ah, yes, that's definitely... Well, anyway, b3 is horrible because it just lets my bishop out, and now I'm like, woo! Getting out. And I felt like I might actually win at this point. Not gonna foreshadow anything, but... Okay. Now he threatens mate like a little sneaky boy, and we see the point. So, again, black to play and not get mated. You don't understand why rook takes e8 is good for white, because I can't take with the king, and if I take this way, this is a skewer. You take my rook. Sorry, I should have been more clear. So yeah, this is a very Rhett Langseth type move, and it was very scary. Yeah, but rook e8 is forcing a rook trade, thankfully. And now I'm just doing fine. Like, I'm just fine. White is better, but I'm not gonna lose. I have to not hang my rook. Alright, let's take a second and reevaluate the position. Let's just take a step back, because a lot has changed in the last few moves. So, he's up a pawn, But other factors to evaluate this position are that it's opposite colored bishops, for one, so your drawing chances are higher for both sides. Number 2 is king safety. I would say my king is not as safe as his king. Piece activity, his rook is pretty active, and mine are not, but his dark-scored bishop is almost never going to get active. My bishop has the potential to become active. In the endgame, you want king activity also to go with piece activity. The king wants to be in the center, and in that case, my king is better placed than his, actually. Other things, doubled pawns, but you know, I have a passed pawn and he does not. Also, because the dark-scored bishop is so bad, there's no good way to approach it without giving up a pawn, or like he can't even play bishop d2. I mean, he could play like king f2, bishop d2, king e1, bishop c1, king d2, and then take. But that takes time, and also I can just defend it. So it's tough. Another thing is that the b pawn is very weak and hard to defend, and I probably will lose it. But it's not such a big deal because this pawn has kind of got everything control over here. White has the potential to make a passed pawn on this side of the board, but it's hard to do. Okay, with all this in mind, I decided to not allow any king activity to happen. So I play rook f7. He can trade the rooks if he wants to, but I wouldn't, because I think it's just a draw at that point because of the opposite colored bishops. So rook takes b6, taking a pawn. Go opponent. See, the problem here, though, is my b6 pawn was undefendable, but his e5 pawn is also undefendable. Notice that if his bishop, this is a common idea in the rest of the game, if his bishop ever gets too far away, d2 instantly wins because the king can't get back in time, and I can't play this move. I mean, it wouldn't help anyway, but the rook is shut out, so the bishop has to stay on e1. So I'm winning the e-pawn. And after that, I have kind of a big pawn mass in the center. It's kind of scary for him. So he plays g4, which I thought was probably the best move because he's just freezing any activity this way. And as you'll notice, if I take on e5 like I did, it's the best move. But the rook is gonna have some trouble, actually, getting out the way everything is set up. So I've never actually seen this before, but you're gonna want to buckle in, kids. Alright. So currently the threat is to take this pawn, and if you defend this pawn, I'm gonna play rook e4, and then you're gonna have to defend this pawn, and then I've gained some time, and then I can play king c7, and then like bishop b5 or bishop c6, and your rook kind of sucks if my bishop is on c6. So that's what I thought would happen. So king f2, rook e4, I thought h3 for sure, but he played king f3, which struck me as a mistake, because this way the king has to defend both pawns at the same time, and it's just kind of a time-wasting move, because eventually you're gonna have to defend one of these pawns if you want to move your king either way. Otherwise your king is stuck there, babysitting the pawns. So it's sort of a waste of a move if you're gonna have to play h3 anyway. So I think king f3 was the start of the mistakes. It also makes this 4 sequence even better. So king c7. We're running out of squares. He doesn't really want to play rook b4 because that seems like really like a draw. Other than that, he's completely out of squares besides a6. But now bishop c6 is very, very strong. And this is, again, highlighting how bad the king is on f3. So I'm threatening d4 in a lot of lines. Not right now, because he can play rook takes c6 check, king takes c6, and king takes e4. So I can't, it's not a threat immediately, but it's about to be, and there's not really much he can do about it. So what are his legal moves? The rook has to stay here to look at the bishop, otherwise I play d4. If he pushes a pawn anywhere, I mean, I just play king b7, and you have to go somewhere, and then I play d4. You can't move your king anywhere to get out of this, because then you hang one of your pawns. So the king is overworked, and it's badly placed. The bishop on e1 is overworked and badly placed. The rook on a6 is overworked and badly placed. So at this point, when I played bishop c6, I had to really try and be extremely objective with myself, because everything in my head was screaming, play this for a win, you're winning. But the thing is, all those things may be true, but my rook is trapped in the middle of the board, which is not something I've ever seen before. How am I to make progress? Sure, all my pieces are better, my king is better, my pawn is better, but it's not like I have any breaks. So, and if I make a break, I might lose. So, yes, I'm better, but I can't make progress, therefore it's equal. My rook is fine. Well, what do you know? My rook is definitely getting out, right? So, he plays bishop d2, defending this pawn. Because, you know, if d5, if he plays something like, I don't know, like h3, king b7, rook goes, I mean, probably a2 to actually stop this, but then I can play d4, and this is the threat, and also, like, that, and I'm getting my rook active. So that's why bishop d2 to defend that pawn. But now I play king b7, and it's unclear what white should do, because it feels like d4 is a pretty big fucking threat. Because if you take this way, I can take here. And if you take this way, then my rook gets really active, and this pawn is fucking terrifying. My opponent actually did opt for rook takes c6. Which, if you have to do that, I don't think that you could even play for a win anymore. So in order to not be worse, white has to play rook a2. I assume it's just keeping an eye on the square so the bishop can be free. But, I mean, this is equal. So d4, e takes d. Could play like rook f4 check. This is kind of a funny little mate. So he has to go king g3, and then, I don't know, check. I get a drop if I want this. He has to be careful to not, like, get mated with his king up here somehow. It's a bad position. So, anyway, that's the threat. So that's why he decided to play rook takes c6. So I'm not going to talk about the evaluation at all until afterwards, because I didn't get that during the game. I didn't get an evaluation. If you list out all of the factors in the position, you would come to the conclusion that black is better. The question is, how can you possibly make progress? If you could place your king anywhere on the board, you know, except for like behind these pawns, which he would never do. Like he can't get to that side of the board. If you can orchestrate a pawn break, how would you do that, and how would it be winning? And there's just no way. This game was last weekend. So I really wanted to play for a win, but I had after king c6, I actually offered another draw. I have 26 minutes, and he has 35. So, okay, here's the awesome thing, though. Yeah, after I played bishop c6, he went from 82 minutes to 38. And as we know, it's the smartest thing to do is to play all your moves instantly in the game until you've already messed up your advantage and are worse. Then think for 40 minutes. So that's what my opponent did. I offered a draw here. He said no, which I thought was the most insane thing I had ever heard. Because yes, black is the only one with winning chances here. When he said no, I thought I was going to win because I thought he would push too hard and lose. But if I push too hard to win, I could lose. That's where we're basically playing chicken at this point. So bishop c1, king c5, bishop a3, and I already am aware of ideas like if he gets off of this diagonal, I'm not going to play d2, I'm actually going to play d4. And he can't take my rook because then d2 wins. So that's why he can't even do this, because I could also play rook takes g4, which is another idea. But that's an idea I'm aware of. If he tries to overpress, that's something I could do. And then here, I was aware that if h4, if I play king c5 and he plays h4, he's losing here as well because of rook g4. And if he takes, the pawn runs and you can't get back. So these were my little ideas. I spent like 3 or 4 minutes finding some winning ideas. And other than that, I was like, I'm not going to tank my time looking for a win that might not be there. So, c4. What do we think about c4? c4 is a very weird move, and this is the critical point of the game. c4 has to be bad, but why? So it's actually black to play and win now. So I couldn't find anything. I looked for a while and I didn't find anything better than just moving my king back and forth. Rook takes does not work. This is just not working. Like, I don't even know what you want from this position. You're not gonna find it instantly. This is a genuine endgame study. If someone puts the answer in the chat within the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna assume you cheated. So maybe just don't. If you're using the engine, just wait 5 minutes and then put it in. And I need a full line too, because anyone can just like say a random move and think that it's correct. Okay. So a lot of people are saying d4. But if d4, I take your rook. Uh-oh. People are saying e5. So e5 loses to c takes d5. This is the way I would overpress that I foresaw that might happen. And I am going to be in Zugzwang after bishop d2. My rook is still trapped, and I have to move the king away. Because this is diagonal opposition, basically. And now he just has to make a move to have opposition and push me away and take my rook. So that is a way I could lose. That's why in my head I was like, okay, no, I'm not playing for a win. There's no way I can force a win. If he does something dumb, I will win, but otherwise I can't. This is not something I don't think I could ever find with 10 minutes on the clock after a 6-hour game like this. Yes, diagonal opposition is a thing. There's also distant opposition, knight opposition, distant diagonal opposition. There's a whole bunch of kinds of opposition. So, mass refuge, rook e5, bishop c3. Do you hear that? How is this hard? Just take, win. How is this hard? What the fuck are you talking about? My fucking god. Sorry. D takes c4, king takes e4. What? No one has found a coherent idea yet, let alone the right move. Then take again? Take bishop... Or, yeah, I can just take here. I'm in the square. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm in the square. God damn it. Alright, get this nonsense out of my chat. King d6, king e5. What? Resign and have lunch. You win because lunch. Okay. Just king takes d3, and after c takes b3. Oh, yeah, that's what, yeah. Okay, so I know that the chat is not going to find it. So first I'll show you what Daniel tried. Because I think it's a good try. So Daniel played rook e5, which is the correct first move. But after bishop c3, he attempted to play d2. And this is a very, very good try. Because if I play something like king d2, I have rook takes e3. And black is winning here. But here we just play bishop takes d2, and surprisingly white can hold this endgame. Even though I'm getting my little rook out, white can hold here. So rook e5 is the right first move, but after bishop c3, what do we need to do in order to promote this pawn? What was the thing that we said to ourselves was the one thing we wanted to do if possible, but it was illegal? What is the point of this? Because I mean, always repeat, rook e4, incorrect. d4 is another very good try, because if I play bishop takes d4, king b4, and you cannot get back. If you take here, I play king takes b3 and king c2. But I take with the pawn. Unlucky. Here, this is the most endgame of all endgames. D takes c4, bishop takes e5, and here, one might be tempted to be like, oh, I have trousers, the bishop can't stop both. But if something like this, black maybe has some chances here. But after bishop b2, your pawn is helping me create a wall. Your own pawns are creating a wall, and if you ever do this, my king gets in. So, could honestly just play bishop b2 right away, and then black cannot get in. So, and I can't push because you just get in right away, and you're stopping me. But king b4, and now white cannot get back to c3, and after b takes c4, king b3, we just get to c2. And if I try and stop you with king f2, it doesn't matter, because I could play d2 or king c2. D2 is probably more accurate here, because after king e2, I play king c2, and I promote with check, and your dark squared bishop is useless. So the rook on e5 is not a part of the game. All he is the big juicy bait for the bishop. The only thing the bishop's good for is stopping this pawn. The only real person in this game is the d pawn. Everyone else is just a sheep. So that's a pretty fucking hard thing to see, especially with king b4, with no time on the clock. I dabbled with the idea in other positions, like if he like does something dumb, then I can do this. But it didn't cross my mind in that position to do it. I thought my only chances for a win were h4 takes followed by rook g4, or something like him getting too far away and then having d4, and if takes, there's d2. I thought those were my only chances. So I actually had the chance to play rook e5 5 more times in the game, and I did not play it. But I had to audibly like keep telling myself in my head, don't play this for a win, you fucking idiot. This is how you lose all your games. The position will still be just as interesting in the post-game analysis. You can still figure it out. You can still look at the endgame, but it's like you get $100 or you get nothing. I mean, maybe you find a win. No, not audibly, but like an actual voice in my head instead of just thinking. Like I had to say the words in my head. And I was like, I am so unbelievably lucky to even draw this game. It was mate in 10. I am so unbelievably lucky to draw. If I push for a win and lose, that is so much worse than drawing this horrible game, even if I missed a win. So that's what I had to tell myself. Because I think I easily could have gotten that Zugzwang mishap. Because I was trying to get this in, but yeah, like this could easily happen to me. This is how I lose to him every time as well. It's just like what, you know? This game was against Rhett Langseth, aka Terminoil on Twitch. Xclam merch. Go get some merch. So anyway, I gotta post that fucking everywhere. It's the coolest shit ever. My spidey senses were tingling after c4, but I was like, I don't see it, because I thought after bishop c3 I just have to go back. I looked at d4, but I did not look at d takes c. I just didn't look at it. Also, if he just takes back, you're just going on the light squares. This rook is not a factor. Like, I just don't care about him. It's basically an empty square. So anyway, that is the rook trapped in the center of the board Zefcat study extravaganza.